So, queuing for another game right now. Uh, yeah. I really like how, like, in Hearthstone, you can just find another opponent just right away and then you just keep playing. There's just no downtime. I'm used to, like, I mostly play, like, Magic Online, and, like, that, that has tons of downtime. Alright, so Mage right now, it's really hard to tell, like, what he is, because he could just be, like, Mech, he could be, like, the Mana Worm deck, or he could be, uh, like, Freeze Mage. I think against all of these decks, I just want to mulligan like this. This is kind of, like, why I don't like a Noyatron, just because it's a 2-drop in your deck, and it's in your opening hand, and you just don't want to keep it. But I think the problem is against, like, almost everything he plays, you just, like, if he has just a 2-power creature, just pings and attacks it, and then you just get almost no value out of this. And so, and I already have a 2-drop. If I didn't have any 2-drop, you could maybe consider doing this, but I have keeping this, but I have this, which is infinitely better. So, yeah, I drew Mirror Entity, which is miserable, because drawing Mirror Entity is always miserable. But otherwise, this is good. I think I think the plan is probably to play this on turn 2, and then these on turn 3 and 4. And this means my opponent's likely the Mana Worm deck, which sucks for my hand. I think I definitely just play the Cogmaster on turn 1. I guess this is actually a really good draw, because if he Frostbolts it, that's fine, and other than that, it's not. He doesn't have a really good way to buff this thing up. Yeah, so this was a good draw. It's probably gonna let me deal with this Mana Worm, or at least force him to use, like, a pretty solid resource to kill my Cogmaster, which, like, a Flame Cannon or a Frostbolt, which I'm definitely way happy with, because those cards are great against my deck. So, yeah, if he just has Mana Worms in his Mech Mage, that's, like, irrelevant. It's probably puts him at a disadvantage, because this card doesn't really make very much sense to play. But yeah, so he's just that deck. That's, like, basically this deck, except with just, like, this stuff instead of the mechs and, like, unstable portals. It's better in, like, mirror-ish situations, but I think worse overall, just because it's fundamentally less powerful. So yeah, so this turn I think it's pretty easily. I just play the Snow Chugger and trade things off. Yeah, this is a good target for, like, a Frostbolt or a Flame Cannon. That's probably what's happening. It's moderately annoying, but I mean, whatever. That's what his deck does. The alternative there weren't really any meaningful alternatives that last turn. So yeah, so now I'm just playing this train of Piloted Shredders. I think that this is, like, might just be the best card in the game right now. It's just, like, it asks so little of you and does so much. Yeah, so he's gonna Frostbolt it, and it's probably also gonna trade with his Mana Worm. And no, it's not gonna trade with the Mana Worm, but yeah, I mean, sure. I think at this point I'm just going to Frostbolt this Mana Worm. I don't think... It's kind of not great that this is how I'm using my turn, like, just Mech Warper Frostbolts. Especially when, like, I could just play this Shredder instead and I'd not care. But this is, like, the main way his deck functions, so I think it's okay. And, like, it'd be kind of nice to save that for an Azure Drake, just to have, like, fast damage, but I think it's okay. And then if he doesn't kill this, yeah, so that's moderately annoying, but certainly not the end of the world. So now I can Mech Warper Fireball, or I can Mech Warper Shredder Ping, or I can Loatheb. All of these are, like, reasonable options. So if I could Mech Warper Shredder Mirror Entity, I'd obviously do that. As is, I feel like this is just a bit weak, because against so many of his turn 5s, it just doesn't accomplish anything. And I think Mech Warper Shredder Ping is pretty decent, because next turn it lets me, if he kills a Mech Warper, it sets me up to, like, Fireball Ping, and otherwise I can, like, maybe Mirror Entity Ping, or I could just trade in and then Fireball something better. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't, it'd be nice to clear this and sort of, like, preserve these Mech Warpers, but I don't care about them that much, and I think this fireball, just like being able to interact with this, having like direct interaction with his creatures is pretty valuable. So what's happening here? Is this trading in? Okay, so this is fine for me. And he's pinging my face. So this turn is fine for me. So I definitely want to Mirror Deed this turn to constrain him from playing Doctor Boom next turn, I'm pretty sure. Is that true? Because like if I play the Mirror Deed, he's probably gonna have some way to play around it, but I don't really want to deal with the Doctor Boom next turn, so I definitely do want to discourage him from playing it. And this Spider Tank's not adding that much. This is the kind of the awkward part about the last turn, because like if I draw anything I want to play, then like I'm like kind of, I've basically like committed this 2 mana ahead of time. I've basically like overloaded myself in a way, and there's not that many. Yeah, and then there's not that many great plays that I'm making on 4 mana, so I do think this is worth doing, even if it's not perfect. The fact this like it fights most things that this thing fights, so just having this in play is already like a pretty solid presence. So I don't really feel compelled to develop my board here, and this is like this makes his life reasonably difficult. Okay, well, I guess he has his unstable portal card. So what's he doing with this thing? So he's just trading it in. Okay, so that's fine for me. I traded my 3 mana for his 3 mana. And so now I don't want to Loatheb just yet. I'm going to Loatheb next turn, and hopefully that'll buy me the space I need to win this game. So yeah, so again, I want to place these guys on the edges and attack his face. And so next turn I'm threatening 9 damage and then Loatheb ping. So it's like 10 damage with this board and him not being able to play spells. So he's gonna have to do something really good this turn. I don't think he can actually play Doctor Boom. I don't think that's good enough. So Mad Scientist doesn't do anything. That card doesn't really do anything unless he has lots of secrets. Right, yeah, against this, I think I'm just facing him, right? Or we definitely want to play the Clockwork Gnome. I mean, these he has to make the exchanges, and none of these exchanges are sufficiently favorable for me that I care. It's possible I want to kill the Mad Scientist ahead of time, just so I can trigger the Mirror Entity with this, and make sure it doesn't do anything valuable. I think that's what I'm going to do. So these are definitely going face, and this I think. I mean, the thing is, if he has counterspell, that's annoying, but no, it's really not. So I think I'm definitely I'm definitely Loathebing, and I think I'd fight here. And maybe this is bad. Maybe actually giving him access to the 2/1 is not good enough. All right, no, that's fine. So now I think I just ping the 2/1 instead of his face, and so. Yeah, it's hard for him to deal with this, especially given that I have Loatheb out and a Fireball in hand. So I think so he did have the Doctor Boom, so I'm pretty happy I chose to play Mirror Entity the turn that I did. Yeah, so he's dead. Well, now he's way dead. Yeah, I got pretty lucky in the game. Drawing the Cogmaster in turn 1 was pretty huge. It made it so that he was behind the whole game instead of me. Yeah, another victory, running pretty well.